When I originally became a NASCAR fan circa 2017, I just remember going to Toys R Us and buying a bunch of cars and getting them for my birthday. And I didn't really know much about the sport at the time, so I was just getting them because I thought they looked cool. And I started watching the races more and more often and more intensely, like the Michigan race in the summer, which Kyle Larson won. And remember seeing this big wreck sustained by Casey Kane, and I thought he was hurt, and just came out just fine, even though the car was on fire. And I remember all that. I remember watching and following the playoffs, and I was rooting for this 18 guy who I was just gravitated to. And he didn't end up winning the championship, but he still came up second. And I was a little bit annoyed by that, but it was still a Jersey boy and also a Toyota driver who won the championship, so I was still pretty satisfied with that. And, that's like the preseason to my Kyle Busch fandom, I want to say. In 2018, this is when I start following the sport much more intensely. I'm watching the races every single weekend, and I remember being annoyed that Kyle Busch wasn't winning because he got continuously screwed over, like at Auto Club, where his pit crew made the wrong adjustment and getting stuck behind Clint Boyer at Martinsville and just other goofy races. And then he won 3 in a row. So, it's like my prayers are answered there. So, that kept me satisfied, and seeing Kyle Busch win throughout the season there, that was really nice. Just seeing your driver do well, that's always the best feeling. But then I remember I had to go to a pool party, and I missed the Chicagoland race. And I remember just looking at the results afterwards, and I was so annoyed that I missed such a legendary finish and a win by my guy. That really annoyed me. And I also went to the Pocono race that year. Fun fact, from the 4-race stretch from 2017 Pocono 2 to 2019 Pocono 1, the one race I went to was the one race Kyle Busch did not win at Pocono. So you best believe that I was extremely annoyed when that happened. I was not a happy camper. But I guess my peak of being annoyed was this New Hampshire race in 2018. I remember Kyle Busch was leading and 5 or 6 laps to go. Kevin Harvick knocked him out the way. He was his main series rival at that point. They were trading wins left and right. I just remember absolutely bawling my eyes out after that happened. It was just such an irrational reaction to, honestly, a meaningless race in the end. But that was just my intensity and passion and emotion coming out for Kyle at the time. But, overall, the entire year, Kyle Busch was great. He was dominant. I thought he was going to win the championship. Then the Homestead race comes around, and his car's dog shit all race long. Doesn't even change from night to day. I remember I was just so put off by that. But he came out with the lead because he had a fast pit stop with around 20 to go with that last restart. And he just immediately got passed by Joey Logano and the other guys. And I did not like Joey at the time, but even after that race, I didn't cry or anything or scream out. I just stared at the ceiling for a while in disbelief, feeling defeated. So that was my gift wrap on the bow on the present that was 2018. So yeah. Then 2019 hits, and honestly the first third of the season was more or less the same for how 2018 went. But after that Pocono win, everything kind of went just downhill from there. He had that streak of top 10s broken at Dover with a mechanical failure. That cursed pedigree scheme. He lost that Kentucky duel to Kurt Busch. Although I was rooting for Kurt Busch, if I'm being honest, just because, I like Kurt Busch. I think he's a good guy, and he drove a sick-looking car, so, yeah, but I was rooting for him. I wasn't too mad when Kyle Busch lost. I was actually pretty happy for Kurt. And then I remember that going into, the rest of the season, I was just like, Kyle Busch kind of just been falling off all year compared to guys like Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr. Got a lot of momentum recently, so I was just accepting that Kyle Busch wouldn't win the championship in 2019. So I remember, to my surprise, when he won, after all the blunders of all the other guys, that was just sweetest reward, you know? That was like the peak of my happiness and my fan, my fandom for Kyle Busch. I remember seeing him ride around with Brexton in the car, and I was just smiling from ear to ear. That was really, that made all the, the dumb shit worth it, right? 2020 hits, and that was a very bad year for Kyle Busch. He regressed so much, and I just remember being very ticked off the entire year because Kyle Busch, he just didn't win for the longest time, even though he had races stolen from him, like both Bristol races, among other events. And I just remember when he won at Texas, I was following the race just, casually because I wasn't able to watch the TV at the time. And I just saw him leading, and I was like, oh, well, maybe something will happen. I turned the race on, and I see him leading late. Martin Truex Jr. is catching him with, a handful of laps to go, along with Christopher Bell. I just remember when he held him off, and it was like almost a photo finish at the end. I just remember crying tears of joy that he finally won. It made me so elated. That was comparable to like 2019 when he just won the championship, which it just felt like a great weight was off my shoulders, So yeah, that was a nice ending to 2020. 2021 starts. I had hoped that this would be a return to form for Kyle Busch, and it was a little bit of one with 2 wins and contending more in races and being luckier. But the thing I most remember from this season was Kyle Busch winning at the second Pocono race. I was sick during the Pocono doubleheader event, and I just remember taking a nap during the race because I felt so bad. I remember waking up to Kyle Busch winning. I was like, oh, no way. It was just a nice, pleasant surprise, and I'll have to say that it probably made me feel better than that nap did anyways. But overall, 2021, that was still left feeling, like hungry for more, just because Kyle Busch was shaping up to be the third best driver that year until around New Hampshire, when NASCAR didn't throw a caution for when the rain was falling on track. Yet again, more inconsistencies with NASCAR, but I mean, whatever, right? The season kind of derailed from there for a while, so that was just, 2021 felt like I should have been gifted with more, I guess you want to say, but overall, not bad. 2022, I'm really looking forward to because, new car, Kyle Busch, he's a wheelman, so I'm thinking, oh, this is a driver to bend the car. Kyle Busch is just going to spank the field this year. For the first, up until the summer stretch, Kyle Busch is a championship contender, but just after that one Sonoma race, it just all fell apart for him. Like, that little Bristol win was nice, but Kyle Busch easily should have had 5 wins. Like, Las Vegas, Gateway, Nashville, that's just off the top of my head. Dover, 2022 was a difficult year. And then him not signing an extension for so long was just absolutely insane to me. Like, Kyle Busch is the embodiment of Joe Gibbs Racing in my eyes. Like, he's just like, this guy is there just to win. He doesn't care really too much about what he's driving. He's not brand loyal in terms of Ford, Chevy, Toyota. He's just there to drive whatever Joe Gibbs gives him and wheel it the best he can. He's racing out there to his liking, racing all 3 series as much as he can and whatnot. It's like the pure wheelman, pure driver. I remember reading the rumors about having the Oracle sponsorship fall through and not being able to find one big sponsor to cover up for Eminem, and seeing Ty Gibbs, get praise for his debuts in the Cup Series, and I'm just, waiting for that contract extension announcement because there's no way they can drop Kyle motherfucking Busch. And then it happens. Kyle Busch signs with Richard Childress Racing, of all people, to replace Tyler Reddick, and I'm just left there like, Joe Gibbs really did my man like that? A 2-time champion, guy who won 55 plus races for them, most races for them actually in the Cup Series, and you just hang him out to dry like that, even if he's demanding a big salary. It's still Kyle Busch. Like, the guy's still a wheelman. He's still a championship contender when things go right, and when you're not giving him shit fucking strategies and crew chiefs like Ben Bayshore. And yeah, I guess Joe Gibbs is just too intent on Ty Gibbs making it to the Cup Series. So, honestly, my reaction to him leaving is it hasn't really set in that much. Just because I've been disassociating with for NASCAR in general. Just because honestly, it's really annoying when you just look at all the little holes that you can poke in the sport, like the Daytona debacle, the playoffs in general, all that. It's just gets tiring. And I just didn't really, click with Kyle Busch leaving Joe Gibbs Racing until, the final race of the season at Phoenix. And he's giving, you see him during the national anthem with his wife Samantha, and they look like they're about to cry after a race, post-race interview. He said he couldn't even look at his car because, it's the last time you're going to get in there. This guy's been in there for 15 seasons or more. And it's just such a shame that Kyle Busch is just at this point, like, the disrespect for a former champion like this. It's just, I don't know. But, I mean, I guess that's just the nature of the sport. I wanted to get my thoughts out on the matter. Good luck to next year for Kyle Busch. Yeah.